I feel like flat Earth kind of really took off, especially here on the West Coast, when I believe the moment not too long ago when Tesla decided to launch the Roadster into space, and from that moment on, that was kind of when you were watching the chat that was going on, and you saw people say something about flat Earth at least every other second as the video was going on. So I'm sure I just wanted to ask you guys if you guys remember that moment, if you guys watched that video happen, and your take on it, because I specifically remember a moment, a very long moment for a couple minutes or possibly a half hour longer, where the feed legitimately cut out and you couldn't see anything. So I was curious if you guys remember that and your take on that whole experience.
Yeah, I was one of the members in there actually trying to debate people. You might have seen me in there, who knows? But I was in that chat while I was live, and we were also trying to find things to deconstruct that whole video, like live. We actually have a couple members on our server that downloaded the original video, and we did some research, and it turns out that SpaceX did something really interesting on YouTube. They were able to go back and edit their live video, which is impossible for anyone to do on YouTube. So they did edit some stuff out, and we actually still have the original. We downloaded it like as it was published within a couple of minutes, and then the next day later, they actually went back, kept their views, kept everything, but they re-edited a couple parts of it. I think they took like 7 seconds off of it, which is really interesting because what kind of pull would SpaceX have to have with YouTube to be above every other YouTuber, and they can do something that no other YouTube can do? It's something to question.
Well, there's actually something interesting with the. I was looking into this before because I was looking into getting in some shares in SpaceX. Do you know the only way you can get shares in SpaceX? Does anyone know? No, you have to buy shares in Alphabet. Now, who does Alphabet own?
No clue.
Alphabet owns Google. Who owns YouTube? Google.
Okay.
So they're not independent at all. The only way you can buy shares in SpaceX is through buying shares in Alphabet.
Okay, that's a hot take for sure. That's like definitely interesting to know. And earlier, I know you guys mentioned when YouTube. I guess so. Does YouTube classify what you guys put out as conspiracy or the information on flat Earth as conspiracy theory videos? Because I know they recently they stopped putting the conspiracy videos in recommended, right?
Yeah, a good couple of months ago, the end of last year, Google, YouTube announced that they were going to be, putting a restriction on the amount of fake news. Some of the things that were mentioned were things like vaccines, flat Earth, and a couple of other things. Just throwing all of these things in together because that's bad, right? Ultimately, now what will happen is when you search on YouTube and you put the phrase flat Earth, what will happen is basically what happened for the first 4, 5, 6 pages is you'll just get ridiculous flat Earth claims or debunk videos, 5 reasons to debunk flat Earth and this, that, and the other. Not content that's really provided by true flat Earthers, I would say. Yeah. So you'll come across that. Basic clickbait. It's kind of reassuring to see reams and reams of pages and recommendations, showing that the flat Earth can be debunked in, one proof or this, that, and the other. So it's just clickbait primarily, as opposed to say this time last year where you put flat Earth into a search and you would primarily start getting, good content providers who were talking about flat Earth, Eric Bay, ODD Reality, to name but a few. But yeah, there is definitely something going on with the algorithms and the search engine. Yeah. There's also been, as the movement's been going and growing stronger, there's obviously been, media straw men built up. There's a huge straw man, what we call a gatekeeper, which is called the Flat Earth Society. Now, the Flat Earth Society are the people that make the claim that the Earth is a spinning disk and it's rising at 9.8 meters per second squared. That's how we have gravity, but space still exists and all this type of stuff. They make a lot of, straw men claims. And so when people go there, they have a good laugh. They pull the argument down in about 5 seconds and carry on with their day thinking that the Flat Earth is completely ridiculous.
And to touch on that censorship, like that is extremely deadly or dangerous to any cause, really. And I can only speak on it from we just had the drug users on here before this. We did an interview with them, and just something from that is when you Google like harm reduction things, like how to safely use a drug or something. Now, the only thing that comes up on Google is just pages and pages of these rehabs, these paid centers for people. So it's almost like that censorship is in a way like for multiple causes doing more harm than good, you know, because these are people that are already going to use the drugs or whatever they're doing regardless, and they're trying to look to Google for information or Reddit or anything, and all they can find is these pages just telling you to go to rehab. Or in your case, you're looking up these things, you're trying to get information on flat earth, and you're finding just this bullshit or debunking videos, and it's almost like the cards are stacked against you, you know, against actually spreading information. Even I think censorship of any kind, especially that, is extremely dangerous.
You know what's quite interesting is I was just looking up because Jose recommended looking up Eric Dubay's History of the Flat Earth. Now, when you type in specifically with no other words, Eric Dubay, The History of Flat Earth, which is the name of the video, it's like the 8th or 9th link.
Yeah.
Every link above it is why history, why flat Earth is retarded. And then the next one is like explaining the flat Earth and brackets, obviously debunking it. And then and it's like video, and eventually you get to the exact thing you typed, and you just think, well, how is the algorithm giving me a bunch of stuff I didn't type way before the thing I typed?
It's just an insane amount of censorship. Like, it's just happening so much now. It's like we're getting into that position where are these I don't want to call them outlets of information, just like search engines, like Google as a whole, are they getting into a position where they're kind of able to choose what you see now, where it's not this freedom of information that the internet should be, and it's more so people are getting indoctrinated, you know, because even if they want to see something else, obviously you just said it, the first 8 results had nothing to do with what you actually wanted to see, and instead it was just information shitting on that. So it's almost like they're in a position now where they're choosing what is fact and what is reality, you know.
See, the thing is, at the end of the day, I mean, I think most flat earthers would agree with me when I say this, is if they're hiding it, why don't they just prove it? Why don't they just prove the spinning ball? Why don't they just give us the empirical scientific evidence, which is something that we'll get into later? Why can't they just come out and give videos that just prove that the Earth is a ball? They can't do that.